بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
We don't know what is absolute nothing.
I just define absence of everything.
Absence of everything has not been seen.
If there was such a thing where the absence of everything, can it then give rise to something?
Probably no.
Probably not.
No.
Shall we end this discussion? Because you're not being very logical yourself, right?
Fine.
Right? Unless you come with logic and rationality, the discussion will be totally futile. Why? Because your inferences, your conclusion is going to be as illogical as your stance as you began with. You have to have a logical foundation of your premises, of your belief. If you have nothing, you say, I believe, I don't exist, and I exist at the same time, then what can I say? You have to logically make some sense. If you come along and say, you know what, I may be a brain in a jar, having a dream, then I cannot speak to you and have a meaningful discussion with you. Why am I wasting my time with a brain in a jar?
See, I'm just saying that the origin of everything cannot be proved because we haven't reached there. We haven't seen it ourselves. And nothing for absolute, we don't have any proof. Even Big Bang is a theory.
You know what you're saying about we don't have it? Who is we? Who are you representing?
I'm just telling we as in humans.
We are different.
Together.
For example, I don't
differentiate.
I disagree with you because you don't think the way I think, and I don't think the way you think.
That's difference of thought. But I'm telling, as a general human being,
just one thing.
I think you're a human being, and I.
Have you ever used fingerprints?
Yeah.
Why is it unique?
It's unique.
Why?
It's unique. It is unique.
Have you heard of something called randomness?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
So, if there is no creator, if there is no designer, if there is no intelligence, you would expect our fingerprints to be by chance and randomness to be the same. Two persons be the same. Why is it different and unique?
Is there a logical explanation for the creator?
I'm asking you to now be rational and tell me. If you believe in randomness...
We have different DNA.
Okay, so if DNA... If
Twins
DNA...
have the same fingerprint.
Do they?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
But it's studied and, proven.
So your
I would like to know, I may be wrong, but I'd like to know.
Identical twins have identical fingerprints.
So they have identical genomes and genes?
Yeah.
Really?
They're identical twins.
So just...
They come from one zygote.
Totally, I do apologize for bringing this example. This is totally irrelevant to this point, right? So I apologize. Identical twins, why do one pair of twins end up homosexual and the other isn't, if people say it's genetic?
Why?
Because they have different...
we have
the
our
combination of the chromosomes.
people who are homosexual, right? Listen, identical twins, as you say, they have the same genes, same genomes. Okay, the DNA fingerprinting is the same. So why is one pair of the twin ends up homosexual and not? In Australia, there were thousands of identical twin studies were done, and they showed that both of the twin pairs were not homosexuals. So does that prove to you then, as I said, it's an irrelevant point in the discussion, that homosexuality, those who say is genetic, is actually a myth?
How does this prove anything?
It might be that in their case it was through conditioning, but it might be that in other
conditioning
cases,
is not genetics then, thank you.
No, but it might be that in other cases it was genetic. There could be different types of
If it's genetics, you'd expect them to show a gene controlling homosexual behavior.
Well, no, because there might be some people who become homosexual through social.
So that means you're saying...
And some who don't. Some who are.
Then you are agreeing with the rest of the people that homosexuality is a social conditioning,
No,
not
I'm saying
genetics.
that some of it might be and some of it might not be.
How is
I'm saying
this
that they might be
If there were genetic component, then both of the pair of the twins should have the trait,
No,
since
they might
both
be social
don't.
homosexuals. And there can be.
Never mind. I just brought this along because you're talking about genetics.
Yeah.
Now, talking about genetics. I
don't want to divert.
I want to bring this back to the discussion we had, right? We're talking about genes in ourselves. So our genes, were they programmed by a programmer? or where they came as a result of randomness?
Not known to us until now.
No programmer. No programmer means no intelligence, no designer, no engineer. That means it's a random process. So if it's a random process, our genes should exhibit randomness within the genetic profile, within the genomes. So we should expect in your genes, even though you're Homo sapiens sapiens, your fingerprints should be different than mine by randomness, because there is no programmer.
So it is different.
I'm saying should be the same, sorry, by chance and randomness.
Why? Randomness.
Because there is no programmer restricting this feature to be unique.
So it is random.
You have extremely similar, not totally identical, but extremely similar.
You see, when we talk about if there are things in random, if I roll a dice, you have the probability of having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, right? If you roll a dice, and it's a perfectly normal dice, it's got all the 6 numbers on it, right? And you roll a dice as every time is 2. Well, it doesn't matter who picks up, which lab you go to. It's always 2.
You're supposing that there's a finite number of different fingerprints or a finite number of types of leaves.
What we do know is this: if we roll a dice, I want to, hammer this example through so we understand it. Resurrect you, recreate you as unique as you were in this life. So he's giving us food for thought, thinking about this unique feature. The unique feature means what? There is something that is restricting us. So
It's not restricting because the dice argument was that they were all the same, and the finger argument was that they're all different.
Why is it all
So
different and not the same?
They're opposite arguments.
yes, but the principle is the same. If we have randomness, then dice should be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or 6. If you have randomness, my fingerprints could be the same as yours, same as his, same as his. But the fact
There's
that
an infinite number of different fingerprints.
the fact that we have all this infinite number of people that we have in forensic science, and it's still different. That means if it was randomness, no engineering involved, then some of the fingerprints should be similar and the same.
Because you're saying that it's possible for them to reoccur, but maybe it's not possible for them to reoccur.
Why not?
Because there are so many different factors that go into making a fingerprint.
So if it was random, all of these factors can also apply to this gentleman, and he has the same fingerprint on mine because it's random. It's possible. When you roll a dice, you're not controlling it. It could be 2. I roll it 2. He rolls it 3, and you roll it. It's 3 as well by random chance. Some people believe in it. So by random chance, you can get 2 fingerprints the same. But the fact is, they're not the same.
I'll think about it.
By the way, we don't shake hands as Islam teaches us, as a sign of respect to you.
Oh.
Okay? But I can shake my hands with my wife, my mother, my sister, for example.
Oh, I see.
Right? Yeah, no. I cannot shake hands with even a Muslim woman, other than my wife, my mom, and so on and so forth. Right?
That's okay. Well, have a bow then.
Right? Nice talking to you. Okay, my friend, what's your name?
My name is Suhail.
Suhail. What proof will convince you that there is a creator? Because you're an agnostic, right? What proof and evidence will convince you?
Physical.
Give me an example of the nature of the physical evidence.
God himself.
Okay. So if God himself came down here and says, I am God, you'd believe, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now, imagine now this man comes along and says, I am God. And would you believe in it?
No, he's a man, not a God.
So, okay. So in your view, what does God look like?
I don't know. If he has the power to control everything in the universe,
And he's doing that already.
no, he does it. And
Sorry?
I know. It's informed to me.
Okay. Who's controlling the universe?
I don't know.
I'm telling you, it's God. Give me another option if it's not God.
No, there is. What's the evidence? There's no evidence.
You know, universe operates in a certain way within rules and precisions and complexity and organization and design and engineering. You know how the Earth rotates in its axis in a certain angle? You know how the Earth goes around the Sun in a certain way? All of these are very precise. We have our physical constants which are precise even to 22 decimal places. That's how precise they are.
Why not
And
more than that?
look, do you know how many when we say 27 decimal places, do you know how precise this is?
It's precise enough.
When you
But why
measure,
not more
when
than
you
that?
measure,
What is
I am
the value
I am
of a definite
65
value?
kilos. If you say I am 65.12356 and up to 20 decimal places, very precise.
See, I like to make conclusions of statements. Okay, I'm an engineer myself. So you're telling me that if you have definite knowledge, like if you are concluded that the world is so complex, you need to have a creator.
I didn't say that. I said the world is organized. The world shows design, and it's clearly obvious. So let me give you some
It
examples.
shows
of
a design,
No, not shows.
and it needs an architect.
Wait. It doesn't show there is a design. Let me show you an example. When you cut your hand and you bleed, you keep on bleeding, right, until all the blood is exhausted from your body, right?
Yes.
No, false, wrong, totally wrong. When you bleed, what happens is there is a system built in, a design which prevents all your bloods to leak out by forming a clot. It forms a mesh. It's really a mesh. The fibrinogens, all they come together and forms a real mesh, like with fibers, like this and a clot, so it blocks this leak, this cut. That is a design.
WBC.
No, that is a design. That is a design. Wait. So how? That is an example of a design.
I'm making my statement. How does complexity, no matter how
Complexity.
complex, I
I'm
can
talking
tell
about
you
design.
complex. See, do you know about neural networks? How we design neural networks? How methodology of neural networks are? How artificial intelligence is? How signal
go ahead.
processing is? How is that?
You do that without a designer, right?
No, I'm telling you. I'm not making statements that these are done without a designer. I'm telling you that. Your statement.
No, you're wrong. You don't need a designer for neural
See,
networks.
I agree to logical explanations. I'm asking you.
I am saying there is no need for a designer for neural networks and artificial intelligence. You don't need a designer to make this design, because in principle, design can come from without a designer.
So I proved your statement.
What?
Now what I'm trying to tell is,
Do you agree or disagree
you
with
just told me that you don't need a designer.
Do you agree with
That's
me?
your argument.
Do you agree with me?
No, that's what you're trying to tell me, or
No, I am saying when you talk about artificial intelligence, neural networks, computer engineering, right? I am saying, now this is my argument to you. You don't need a designer. This design can come by itself without a designer. Do you agree?
I disagree.
Why do you disagree?
It needs a designer. It's complex.
Why does it need a designer?
Yeah, it's complex. It needs a designer. Okay, I
No,
agree.
I don't understand. Why does a complex things need a designer?
Okay, because it's complex. Maybe.
It doesn't make sense. If something is a complex, why does it still need a designer? Why can it just be like that? Why can a random chance not make like this?
So
I'm at a loss. Please explain to me,
Okay.
rationally, scientifically, through your engineering language, why does complex things and apparently designed things need a designer? Why?
So there are no complex things that happen by chance.
Please,
I don't
why
know very,
are you
very
telling
much.
me that this engineering that you're talking about, artificial intelligence and neural networks, why do we need a designer? Why? Sorry?
You tell me. I
No. I am saying we don't need a designer. If you don't agree with me, tell me why.
You don't need a designer.
No, you don't.
You're telling me.
I'm telling you, in artificial intelligence
Okay.
and neural networks, you don't need a designer. This can come about without a designer, a programmer, an engineer. If you disagree, tell me and educate me why you do need a designer, an engineer, a programmer.
So that's your statement. Did you even listen to my statement?
Which is?
My statement is there are complex things in this world. It's not necessary that every things are so complex. You need a designer.
So that's what I'm telling you. Neural networks and artificial intelligence
I'm telling
is
you
not
that
necessary. They need a designer.
Not have a designer.
This is what I'm telling you. I agree with you.
Things can happen by chance.
That's what I'm telling you.
Again,
Neural networks and artificial intelligence does not necessarily need a manufacturer, a designer, an engineer, a programmer. Do you accept that? As an engineer, do you accept that?
Neural networks needs.
No.
Yes.
They don't necessarily need a designer.
It needs.
Why
I'm
did it
telling-
need? No.
No.
Tell me why.
It needs a designer.
I need to know why they need a designer.
Neural networks, as in the terminology, was itself made by us. Okay, we have designed it, and it needs a person's involvement.
I haven't seen it
Definitely.
though. You know what? I really haven't seen it. But I can say it doesn't need a designer. If you tell me it needs a designer, you need to convince me why it needs a designer.
You haven't seen it?
Look, I am not an engineer, right? So I haven't really seen it. The only mathematics that I studied is like in the universities for my science, mathematics that came with it. So because I'm not an engineer,
It definitely
you need to
needs
you need to convince me why it needs a designer.
It took me at least 6 months to study the subject.
Yeah,
So it needs that much time to convince you.
I don't understand that. Are you
Neural networks is a
Are you
subject studied
saying the
over
neural
time.
networks is so precise, so organized, intrinsic organization and complexity that you cannot have this network without a designer?
No, it needs a designer. I'm just telling you, it needs a designer. Yes.
So if I tell you the universe needs a designer, it needs a designer, I have studied for 25 years in my life, it needs a designer, you would accept this argument. Of course you don't. So I would like to know why artificial intelligence...
I never said I don't. It could be.
I am
Or
saying
could be not, but there is no
artificial
evidence.
intelligence could need a designer, but it doesn't necessarily need one.
No, right now, if you go by the definition, if you know what is artificial intelligence and neural networks, it needs a designer.
Okay. In the artificial
By
intelligence...
human involvement.
Okay,
See,
Sunil bhai,
there are
Sunil
things-
bhai, just 1 second.
Listen, let me also complete.
Okay.
Maybe you can have 1 minute of mine.
Explain, please. Take it.
There are
take
things that can come by chance,
it. Like,
like a meteor hitting a planet.
it's not by chance.
It's not by chance. Everything has a cause.
No. There is no thing such as a chance.
Okay.
There is no such thing as a chance. Give me an
Define
example.
a chance of that red person T-shirt. Where is he heading?
Yeah.
Is it besides
It's not by chance. There's no such thing as chance. I'll tell you why.
the gentleman in the black jacket, or
I'll tell you what's right. The way he's going, either consciously or subconsciously, he's making decisions. His decisions are translating from his brain, going to his limbs, his legs, and his leg is walking. If his brain did not signal his leg to walk, his leg would not walk. So he's already making this decision. So he's making the decision somehow of the things that he has already.
so we call it randomness.
There is no such thing as randomness and chance. When you toss a coin, let me demonstrate to you. Now I will tell you something about what
There is no
people,
such thing as randomness. And
There
why
is no such
why
thing
there
as
is
chance.
such a thing in
Something's either going to happen or it's not going to happen. There's no
between.
whether or what.
Do you know?
Something is either going to happen or
Okay.
not happen. So it should be chance there. There is randomness.
The decision has to be made at some point.
My
Yes
friend,
or no.
My friend.
There is no maybe. Yeah.
when we toss a coin, we say the chances are that it lands on a head or a tail is 50-50 because it's two sides, right?
Yeah.
Do you know why we say this? It's a chance. It's simply because we do not have all the factors in our equation to tell whether it's head or tail by this absolute precision. If I knew every single factor that was involved, let me finish my argument.
No mind.
Let me finish my argument if you understand, right? Because I made this claim. I make this claim there's no such thing as chance. So let me demonstrate to you. If I knew the width of the coin, the metal it's made of, the texture, okay? If I knew...
Tell me something that you
know,
know of definite. So then I can prove it to
Look,
randomness.
I'm explaining to
You're telling me there is some other person who knows coin tossing, which is not randomness, right?
Listen.
And tell me
I am
something of definite.
demonstrating to you coin tossing has nothing to do with chance.
Demonstrate.
I will tell you
I'll
as
give you a
I am.
Let me give you. No chance by randomness.
So now, this coin, 1 dirham, right?
Let's have the
from Arab
experiment.
Emirates. You're from Emirates?
Yes.
If I know the weight of this coin, yeah, if I know everything about this matter, the height that's going to fall, how it's going to bounce in terms of the rebound effect, right? If I know the wind, the temperature, the humidity, I'm giving some examples, right? If I know all those things in my equation, all of the factors, I can guarantee it's going to be head, tail, or on the side, with every single time.
Why didn't
The
you
fact
design
that
such a
the fact that we do not have.
Let's
Let me
say-
finish my point, please. The fact that I do not have all the factors at my disposal.
So tell me something that you have.
Listen,
So you don't
listen.
conclude a
Let me
statement
finish. So,
with only theory.
Listen.
See, I'm a
The
scientist.
reason why we say it's chance
you
is
told me
because
the process of science, right? The science is observation, experiment, testing. This is testing. Why don't we test? Show me tails 10 times.
what you didn't understand is this.
I'll say
If
it's
as
random.
a scientist,
See now, see, we should not divert from topics. Our point here
We will
is
come to this point.
You wanted to prove that there is no such thing as randomness.
Yeah. So would
And
you allow me that?
I can tell that there could be, there could not be. You know why? You know why? I have pure evidence of why and why not. I can give you instances that there are randomness.
Go ahead.
Tell me, what's...
It has nothing to do with randomness. Okay. Look.
No. The lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge of wind, force and everything.
All the factors
I
of the
can give
equation.
you because I know this. And how much can you reach? How much can you reach further?
No.
Like stars and
You know-
everything.
you know-
How exactly do you know the motion of the stars and everything?
What you're not
Random.
getting, my friend, is
See,
this.
you
Can
cannot
I,
be
Can I
certain
demonstrate
of something.
and finish my example? This coin.
You can demonstrate and
What
prove me.
Listen. How can I prove when I don't have the factors, all the factors? I'm telling you, if I did have,
You do an experiment with all the factors.
so listen.
What is fate? What's fate? I don't know.
Can I finish my example? If, as a scientist, I have all the factors that I need, then we can predict with absolute certainty every single time it's going to be head or tail or whatever.
Yeah.
The fact that we do not have all the factors in our equation at our disposal, we are saying we don't know, we leave it to chance. Chance meaning what? The absence
No.
of
You don't have the technology
knowledge.
to measure all these things.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't have all the factors.
Why is coin tossing still in the textbook of probability?
Because
You know what is
we have
probability,
not, listen,
It's known as chance. We have made equations on probabilities. You're telling those mathematical professors were wrong? Probability is a chance that if I'm going here, I can be hit by something. If I'm tossing this coin, it can be head
that has
or
nothing to do
tail.
with chance. When you walk there,
It's known as chance. Please look
let-
at the
let's-
dictionary.
listen.
Okay, let's see.
No. You need to understand one thing.
See.
You have studied. Your professors told you, but have you really understood what's going on?
See.
When we walk, and something hits us and die, it has nothing to do with chance. If I knew all the factors beforehand, then I would know that yes, the probability
You're
of
telling
you.
if is considered one of the what ifs are considered one of the random questions. Okay. Anyways, what I
Point of view, talking to me, you don't even get it.
see, no, what I'm trying to tell is there are randomness, and I'm proving it to you by test. And I'm a person who believes
What is
in the final
random?
test.
Okay, what is random? An example again?
What is random? Randomness.
This
That
has
you
nothing-
don't know the
That's not
exact
random.
prediction.
That's not random.
That is random.
You know
Can
when
you
we
predict the exact thing?
listen. When we make
Then that's known as randomness.
when we make a software to generate random numbers, it follows a particular law. How to make random numbers? They're not random. It follows a particular law built within it.
Is it?
Of course.
You're a software engineer. It does. Can it be unique?
Exactly.
Can it be unique? Question. What do you mean by unique? The random number generated by your random number generation function. Can it be unique?
Depends on the program. Exactly. If you say
So it can be unique. Yes or no?
depending on the program.
Can be, right? Exactly.
No,
It's
can
random.
be is no, it's not random. Can be is
Yes
based
or
on the
no
program.
Is definite answer.
Listen, did you hear what he
So
said?
now, see,
No, did you hear what he
I'm
said?
a rational person. You're giving
The-
me rational answers
No,
to things.
you are not thinking rationally right now. The gentleman said, if I program it to be unique, it will be unique. So it's not random. It's precise. It's a precision
I
design.
have a program that mentions that my random function is random.
Then it's quite specific.
So my program to generate, let's say, one number out of n million. So for the outside observer, it might appear to be random, but the program is not random. It's following a sequence.
For the
Nothing is random.
So basically, what you're telling is your output is determined. Every 10th iteration of your output, can you determine it? Can you know what is the exact answer?
You know when you code,
Let's go one step further. Do you know AES encryption? That has a key that you add. So the key can be unique each time based on the user, right? Complete randomness.
That's how it was set up.
See, it's
Two
pure randomness.
two software engineers discussing about randomness. Now, do you know the
is
Quran?
random.
Do you know the Quran is such a book as someone who speaks Arabic, perhaps, is impossible for anyone to imitate, because I'm bringing something which you're familiar with. This Quran. This Quran is such a way. Have you not read the Quran in Arabic?
Yeah, but
Right. Is it possible for anything of this creation to imitate the structure, the surah, the chapter of the Quran?
I'm not clear with the question. Imitate? You mean copies?
فَأْتُوا سُورَةٍ مِّن مِّثْلِهِ.
I didn't get you. There are copies itself. Right?
The Quran talks about that if this book was from other than Allah, then there are certain things you can do to disprove it. Right? One of the things is, Quran says, if you don't think it's from Allah, then produce a chapter, a surah like it. Like it.
Produce a chapter.
A surah like it. The Quran is 114 surahs.
Surah is a word, sentence.
Surah is a chapter
Yeah,
like
sentence,
this book.
I remember.
Why is it
Surah is
impossible?
a chapter. Like it.
Like the structure of this chapter, the surah.
There are stories similar in Bible.
Not similar. Why can people not bring within this linguistic unit the Quran is, with its chapters, like it?
Yeah, there are stories similar in Bible.
It's not story. I'm talking about the way how it's structured.
So, isn't there verses similar in
It's not about the
Torah?
meaning. It's not about the meaning. You know, when we talk about language of mathematics, right? When I make an equation, if I say my equation is this, and bring an equation like it, so, and you do all the equation, you say there's no way I can match your equation. We're talking about these kind of symbols and language and equations. The Quran has the surah, the chapter, in this format. It's totally unique, and it's beyond the capacity of human beings or the jinns or any of the creation to bring something like it.
Like
Why?
it.
Yeah.
Or better than.
If you cannot even bring something like it, how can you bring something better than it? The Quran is challenge is to bring like it.
It depends on what you like and what you don't like.
To give an example, Arabic poetry, there are
Like
16.
I like Shakespeare's verses.
Okay. There are
I
Arabic
like scientific books. I like
to illustrate a little bit more in detail.
what like.
This like is similar. It's called liking as in preferring. This like is bring something, same construct, using the same language.
According to me, what's like is like that interests me. I'll smile at the end of the day while reading. That's like.
You know, Arabic poetry. There are 16 types of Arabic poetry codified. Khalil, Farahid. We call them bihar. Bihar. Rajas, Khafif, Madid, Tawil, and goes on the list. They are defined meters and rhymes. If I say bring something like in the Bahr of Rajas or Al-Khafif, you can do that because that's what you need to do. This is Ilm al-Arud. People have done that because that's how they make poetry. You know how the people do rap music, rap songs, and you can do the similar kind of rap in return? Same fashion. Arabic poetry, within the 16 type of poetries, people can imitate them. The Quran has its own type of presentation, call it. This is what the Quran says. Bring something like it.
Okay.
It's not only about about the science of the Arab. It's about the science of the Quran as well. So Musaylim al-Kadhab, he tried to put it in, something like we failed this. So it's not only about the science, the way what they built in, like surah, with arud, like rajas or tawil or khafif or something like that. It's not about only this. It's about the science. And the Quran as well.
The contents, the meanings, it's all included, but I'm just giving him the bare structure because he's a programmer and engineer who understands the framework. This framework is laid very clearly. You need to objectively demonstrate that yes, if it's a human work, not from the creator, you should be able to imitate it. The reason why people cannot imitate it is because the Quran came from God in such a way that cannot imitate it.
The challenge, from when they come this surah into the end, is the challenge.
See,
Open the challenge. Anyone
had
who
come
can do
after
this. It's like the same. It is
Jewish book and the Christian Bible, right?
It doesn't have the same form of the Quran. The
It's not
Quran,
the form. Like they have similar verses.
we are not talking about the contents and the stories and the teaching.
You said surah.
I'm talking about the way it's
unique.
presented.
You said it is already there before.
You see, I'm saying it's the way it's presented. This presentation of the Quran with the teaching that was already known about God being one to the Jewish community, to the Christian community, but the Quran brings out the pure Tawheed that don't associate partners with him. He has no son or a daughter or
It
whatever.
is unique. It has unique verses, right? I just told you that it's already there before it. And you should
understand.
justify it.
You see, I don't think you understand the challenge of the Quran. Even I explained to you in a simple term. The presentation.
I'm not getting answered. I just told that it's there.
Do you speak Arabic?
No, little.
Oh,
I
let's
understand.
The Arabic Quran.
We're talking about the Arabic Quran. The Arabic language of the Quran is such way.
No, you're telling me. So that you need to make conclusions also. You're telling me there is no sentence in the Bible or I don't know the book of Jews, Torah. So there is no unique sentence. There is no sentence with similarity.
Let me
Probably we should
clarify.
go ahead.
Every prophet is come with miracle. And the miracle,
I'm going to have
the
to
miracle
I'll come back. I'm just
this prophet will come back with the Quran.
nice talking to you, but please reflect. Agnosticism is just a state. It will pass and you will be convinced with certainty that there is a creator. You just need to make that step when you see the evidence in front of you. I leave it to my brother here who can explain.